Hey there, it's Tim Shea with the Shea Group Realty of Keller Williams in Beverly, Massachusetts. It has been some time since we've last spoken, and for that, I sincerely apologize. But have no fear, there's going to be a lot more content coming your way from this guy right here, Mr. Lister. So, we're in the spring market. I figured I'd take advantage of this glorious day outside and talk to you a little bit about what's happening in the market. It's really the same situation that I've been professing since last year, that we are in a seller's market, that if you're looking to go ahead and sell your property, it's a great market for you to go ahead and do that. However, if you're buying, it's been very, very competitive. So some of this might ring true for a lot of people listening to this. If you've been in the market to go ahead and buy a property, you've lost out. And unfortunately, that is what's happening a lot. Reason being is that there's very little inventory and there are a lot of buyers that are out there, and it's creating bidding wars and competition. So what I wanted to do with you today is just share 5 simple facts that will allow you to remain competitive in the home buying process. They're simple things. So first off, we're gonna start with, if you're not pre-approved, get pre-approved. And that's the first step that you should do to find out what your purchasing power is. You're not going to get your offer accepted without a pre-approval if you are in fact financing your offer. So if you have not gotten pre-approved, find a lender and get pre-approved. I would say always start maybe with the place that you're banking, but if you need recommendations, I certainly have a lot of people that I can refer you out to. A lot of lenders and institutions are doing this thing called getting pre-committed, where they're actually giving you a commitment letter. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but just because you've gotten a pre-approval doesn't mean that you're guaranteed the loan. Your lender or brokerage has to go through a whole underwriting process in order to determine whether in fact you have officially gotten the loan. And once you're done with that process, you get a commitment letter. So some institutions are actually giving out a commitment letter. It will require you to go ahead and do some due diligence ahead of you starting to look for properties, but you'll actually go to purchase a property and you're able to say to that home seller, look, I'm fully committed, I've got the loan, I'm guaranteed the loan. So that's something to check into. So that's number 1. Number 2, timeline of the offer. A standard contract acceptance to the time that it closes is about 45 days. That's on average. Now, there's no set time frame, but maybe the sellers of that property want a quick close. So being flexible with that closing requires you to understand whether or not your lender that you've been pre-approved with and that you're going to finance that property with can actually do a shorter close. And that would maybe be a 30-day close. And within that 30 days, so it goes from 45 days to 30 days, and within that 30 days, there are key timelines that are typically needing to be met. Inspection, purchase and sale deadline, your commitment deadline that we just talked about. That's something that you would want to shorten up as well. Those have specific timelines associated with those. So if you're shortening up your contract to close, excuse me, from 45 days to 30 days, it's only true that those dates should be shortened down as well. So that's number 2. Third one is, how much money are you working with? Obviously, the old adage rings true, cash is king. So the more cash you have, the better your offer looks to any sellers. But that may not always be the case. So you have to work within the terms of what you have. But if you've got 5% down, that's great. If you've got 10% down, that's better. And any amount that you have that you can put down within the frame of the offer looks more attractive to any seller. So keep that in mind. Cash is king, but if you don't have cash, the most money that you can put down is whatever you can deal with. That's going to be contributing factors to why some sellers will choose one offer over another. The fourth in this is avoid contingencies. So saying you need to sell your property in order to buy this property. There are a lot of people that are in the marketplace right now that have cash or they have no contingencies. So if you're offering $400,000 on a property with 5% down and you have a contingency to go ahead and sell your property in order to buy this one, and somebody else has the exact same offer with no contingencies, it's pretty much guaranteed that they're going to go with that offer. So avoid any contingencies. Now, there are a couple of contingencies that are within an offer. One of them is one that I'm seeing a lot. And now, as an agent, I have to say to you that I would never encourage you to avoid or wipe out this contingency within the offer, and it's your inspection contingency. When you purchase a property, it's your right and it's your obligation to have a home inspection. You get a home inspector in there to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly about the property, and they'll give you a report. And from that, you make the best decision possible, whether it's to back out of the deal, whether it's to potentially renegotiate, whether it's to ask for a closing cost credit. But from those findings, you're able to do a multitude of things. And sellers are seeing a lot of offers coming their way where people are eliminating the inspection contingency. And that is huge. That is huge. Now, I, as an agent, and any agent worth their weight in gold, will tell you it's your right and it's your obligation to go ahead and do a home inspection. It's not required, but we encourage you to go ahead and do it because we want you to be as informed as possible about the property that you're purchasing. But let me give you a scenario here. Let's just say you're purchasing a property and your father or your uncle is a contractor. And what you're seeing in this market too is that new listings to the market are saying no showings until that first open house. And then you visited that open house and there's this flood of people. Well, what if you were to bring that uncle of yours or that family member who is a contractor that you trust their advice, and they came into that home inspection with you and they looked at all of the major components of that property, and afterwards they said, you know, look, I feel comfortable, go ahead and purchase that property. I don't see any issues that would be of major concern for you. Go ahead and eliminate that home inspection contingency. That might be some guidance that you could trust. Now again, I have to tell you it's your right and your obligation, but if you do that during an open house, an open house period, and they're just coming in as a guest, that's no harm, no foul. And if they were able to tell you, go ahead and purchase it and I feel comfortable eliminating the home inspection period, that's their guidance to you. That might be a huge, huge windfall on you for getting your offer accepted. So think about that. If you know anybody that you trust, rather than getting a home inspector, and then I know a lot of good home inspectors, and I'm not knocking them, but what I'm saying is it's our job to go ahead and get you to be as competitive as possible. And if that's an option that you have available to yourselves, think about resourcing that. And lastly, the fifth one on this is be flexible. As a buyer in this market, specifically in Essex County, where we have 1.7 months supply of inventory, it is imperative that you be flexible within your offers. Not demanding a lot of things, not demanding that the sellers do things after home inspection, because chances are is if you've gotten the offer, there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4 people lined up behind you waiting for you to back out of that offer so they can jump on it. So they're not going to necessarily negotiate as easily as they would have if this were a different type of market. So remember those 5 things: pre-approved, timeline of an offer, how much money you're dealing with, avoid contingencies, and be flexible. So if you give yourself the best chance by leveraging some of those, if not all of those 5 pieces, you're giving yourself the best possible chance to get your offer accepted in this marketplace. So I'm happy to be back here at it with you guys. I'm looking forward to more of these videos coming your way. You guys know if you have any questions, you can certainly throw them my way. You can always call or text me, 781-789-5128, or visit me on the web at mrlista.com. I'm gonna sit down and get some sun here. My skin's a little bit too pale from being in the winter environment for so long.